Still, we're still loading.
I get those goosebumps every time, yeah, 713 through the 281, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? I'm flying, sipping low-key. I'm sipping low-key and hiding. I get those goosebumps
Newcastle
every
United.
time. I'm coming around,
Wembley is a place for
you ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those comments, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too young, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time. I need the hype, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around me, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Loaded Mag and NUFC. The big match preview, the big game on Sunday, Newcastle United against Nottingham Forest. And of course, there's only one way to do that. And we, instead of bringing him out from the green room, we thought we might as well have him on the screen. Everyone knows him already. It's Forest Fan TV, Wolfie. But Chris, Wolfie, how are you boys? How are things on this fine Thursday evening?
I'm still full of it, mate. Still full of illness. But I feel all the better for that performance and result last night. So that was a big positive. But Wolfie, how are you doing, mate? Are you looking forward to tonight?
I'm good, mate. I just survived 12th man. Got my dinner in between, and yeah, ready for. I don't know if I'm ready for tonight, boys. I just don't know what. I don't know what I'm getting right. So I'll. You gotta roll with the punches at this stage, and we should win. But as far as we do things the hard ways, yeah, I'm good. You guys did really well. I said a point would be good against them.
Yeah. I thought that.
Point would be good. 3 points even better. Finish ahead of Spurs.
Love that. To be fair, me and Chris both kept an eye on the Spurs game, as did Daz as well. Later on that evening, just checking it out. And yeah, they seem to really struggle against.
I watched it. They were terrible.
Yeah.
Shocking. Shocking.
Lucky to get a point in the end.
Yeah, well, it kind of starting to show that it was the manager, not the. You know what I'm saying? It's like the manager sorted him out that trophy last year. But yeah, who cares? What are we doing in the Alliance this weekend? We're just pausing it for a couple of days. Like, how does this work now?
I don't know. You're the one that normally goes rogue.
Bro, I've never broken the Alliance, man. What are you talking about?
We remember Chelsea, Wolfie. We remember Chelsea.
Yeah,
there was a little crossover at one point.
All right, sometimes streams do cross and what have you, but there's it's unintentional. There's the odd fender bender here and there, but never purposeful crashing or anything like that. But no, I'm good, boys. I'm good. Good to be on a panel amongst friends and not being freaking grilled. Well, I probably won't be grilled on myself.
Was it really that bad? 12 man? Was it a cooking? I'm not caught up.
Nah, not really. It was Joe against Sava and George, isn't it? Because of the whole thing the other week. So the game is this weekend. I'm actually looking forward to that game more, man. Leeds against Spurs. Come on, Leeds.
The Mighty Quinn just give us an update in the chat. Celtic are losing at home. And they're playing Braga. I'm not sure if they're playing Braga. I don't know who they're playing, but they're losing 1-0. Yeah.
Wait, you lot got beef for Celtic?
No. They're in the Europa League, aren't they?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking from your perspective, because obviously looking at this situation, obviously you got Europa League tonight. You have targeted Europa League as your trophy to win this season. So surely you should be looking at Celtic and going, that could be a potential team that could stop you guys winning it, surely.
I'm right now, boys. I'm only concerned with what we're doing. This whole nitpick this result over that result.
Okay.
I think we'll do well in the Europa League. To be honest, famous last words 2 hours before kickoff. But I just feel like the way we played against Betis, I thought we were going to play a lot worse. I thought we were brilliant them, and that's why I went into Sunderland thinking, right, just take that same style into the game, almost the same lineup, but. It just shows you when you lose a quality player like Douglas Luiz to injury, like that level of player. Once you get that drop off, they're not easily replaced. Like, you know, you guys with Tonali free. I think Tonali's been sensational for you guys. You take him out the midfield, you can't replace that quality. I know you've got a couple of other players, but they're just filling in. They're just filling in, and you can feel the quality. Like when I'm watching Newcastle, there's certain players that. I don't know how to describe this, but when they have the ball, they always look like they've got space. They always look like they're picking the right pass. It almost feels like they're playing slowly, but they're not. Just that football mind works like that. Tonali, for me, isn't being talked about enough. Just what a good job he's done in that midfield. After having that whole year out, let's not forget, with his stuff. He's just slotted right in. I think actually he came back against us, didn't he? If I remember rightly, in the League Cup match. Yeah, guy moved it around just to make sure the band got. It's coming back to me now. But yeah, so that's the thing. You lose, and Douglas Luiz has been okay. We've only seen him for like a game and a half, but he's sensational. So he should be back. He's gonna miss your game.
So Douglas Luiz is not going to be available. Wow. So that's a big plus for us, Chris. But I was
massive.
I was going to ask the question though, like, if you've only had him for like a game and a half, like, why wasn't he playing early? Why wasn't Nuno playing him? Because he was. I remember when he was signed. I think when Douglas was signed, you had to jump off Top Table Talk, I'm sure, because you were doing an announcement for that. So I know you Forest fans are buzzing about that. But why hasn't he been playing? What's going on?
It was part of the politics with Nuno and Edu. It was an Edu signing because Edu wanted him while he was at Arsenal, and Nuno decided to. No beef with Nuno. No one else asking for his head or anything. He decides he wants to throw a hissy fit, and sorry, that's getting a weird message from my son. And then it's all formal. Hi, Dad. Like, how much? But anyway, so Nuno throwing his money out the pram. His toys out the pram.
He's paid up.
In it, man. I don't know what he's talking about. And he didn't play him. He wasn't playing Jesus, who looks sensational right now, as I've kind of hoped and predicted he would. And there's a couple of others that were clearly Edu signings that Nuno wouldn't want to play. So that's done. That chapter's closed. But yeah, as soon as Douglas Luiz came on, played a half, we destroyed Betis in that half. And then he went off at halftime with a suspected hamstring. And they're going to take it easy on him, were Ange's words, until after the international break. So it sounds to me like he could play on Sunday, but I don't think they'll risk him and they'll give him the extra 2 weeks to recover. But the good news, bad news thing, and I mean this, like, obviously, you know, you got to keep saying you don't want players injured and what have you. Zinchenko is going to be out for your game. And I was worried about that from a space perspective on that left-hand side, especially if you play Elanga again. I think Elanga would have been perfect against Zinchenko. So he's going to be out. So I assume what will happen is Nico Williams will go to left back. It'll be less inverty than what we'd have seen with Zinchenko into midfield, a bit more orthodox. So that balances a little bit for me, but it's hard to tell you what I think is going to happen this weekend without seeing what happens tonight. But then I got catfished by Real Betis last week into what I thought was going to happen against Sunderland. So the big news is that Murillo's back. So he's playing tonight. So I know you asked me about him the other day, Pete, but he's back. So as long as he makes it through tonight, yeah, that's huge news for us.
Chris, that's huge news. I know we talked about it on Tuesday, and I've kept asking Wolfie the question, Chris, because obviously we know how much we rate him as a centre back. He's a top player, and it has been noticeable when he hasn't been in the team. But just on that, Chris, you looking at that situation, Douglas Luiz possibly out, Zinchenko not on the left back, which we were excited about with Alanga after his performance yesterday, and of course Murillo back, and just Forest in general, mate. What your general thoughts on those bits?
I mean, it does sound overall positive. Like, I really, really rate Douglas Luiz. Yeah, it's a shame Zinchenko's not playing, and obviously Murillo being back is unfortunate. But yeah, it's funny with Forest because, like, if we've been having this conversation towards the middle back end of last season, it'd probably be a completely different conversation, wouldn't it? But now that we're having the conversation with Ange in charge, it is slightly different. But I do caveat that with, Forest haven't had the best of starts, but eventually that will change around. You hope it won't be. Someone in the chat, I think it was Peter Griffin, said he's got PTSD from Wood scoring a hat-trick against us at St James's Park. And do you know what? How confident, you'll remember, Pete, how confident did we go into that game? It was like, we'll
you boys were cocky, confident.
Yeah, we were. I mean, you're going a bit overboard there, Wolfie. But,
and boys, just to run some parallels to this, right? So Nuno had taken over a game or two before that, and we'd lost to Bournemouth. Willy Bolly had got sent off, and he still hadn't had his win. Then we went to St James's Park. No Forest fan was thinking like a draw would have been a good result. He took the lead, and then Chris Wood did what he did. And in this little game spell here, it's a similar set of games that we had when Nuno started. This is me clutching at straws. So Bournemouth was first, then you, then United. We've got you, Chelsea, then Bournemouth and United. So 3 out of the 4 games are identical. You never know, man.
I'd rather you save it for Chelsea, mate. I'd rather you sprung the stars on Chelsea. That'd be nice. That'd be nice, and it'd be great for 12th man as well. I'd really enjoy watching.
Oh man, we're tag teaming. We're tag teaming on that night if that happens.
100%. And I think deep down you would. You take the L at St James if it meant you beating Chelsea. Just so you could.
I just need 2 W's. I'll be honest with you guys. It's not like last season where I could be generous with my points and give you guys a few here and there, right? And I need my points. It's still early days. I mean, with all this said, I think there's 1 point between us in the table, but as crap as a start as we've had. So I think you lot are getting away with it, and someone else is getting away with it. It's the young lady in the chat.
Oh. She's in the chat. We did have a conversation yesterday. What do you want to say to our resident Spanish?
I just want to know if Soph is now officially Eddie Howe out, seeing that she said any game, boys. You remember she said any game. Dan Burn, left back. She's done. I'm just saying. I saw the lineup. So you are. Wow. All right. So if I respect the standards, I respect the standards.
And based on our lineup later, she might shiver when she sees the lineup later.
She might be loaded mag out as well.
Chris, make the changes.
Yeah.
And Andy, chill, Andy, bro. You got all this vented up anger that's spilling into anger towards me now, man. I didn't appoint him, Andy. Right? Aim it at Marinakis if you're that annoyed about it. Got nothing to do with me. I had 0 say in it. I tried, but they didn't listen to me. Okay, I said silver to them. They weren't interested, bro. So don't point the gun at me. Sorry, boys.
No, you and Andy are going to continue going back and forth until Andrew's no longer at the club. Now, how long he's at the club will depend on results. Now, I asked you the question on top of mine. I'll ask you again because obviously it's been a few games since then. Do you think Ange can see this out? Regardless of the result on Sunday, do you think with those games coming up, because they're tough games, even after Newcastle, do you think he can survive a run of games like that and potentially not win them all? I know you mentioned you're going to give him a certain amount of games, but look, he's come in. He's not been able to get you that win as you've talked about. The football, I have to say, doesn't seem, and you might argue this, Wolfie, doesn't seem any better than what Nuno was producing before he got sacked. it's a difficult situation. You must be frustrated massively as a fan that you've not had that bounce that most managers normally get going into the club.
Yeah, for me, if I'd seen Ange coming in stinking the house out, it's a different story. But I actually think we've played really good football, barring the Sunderland game.
Right.
The other games, we've looked very good, and there's been stupid defensive errors that have conceded goals, or we've let one in at the wrong time and it shifted momentum and all that. But the build-up play, the attacking football looks really good, especially when he picks the right team. Can he survive? That is entirely up to him. Like him, hate him, love him, loathe him, whatever. Football is a results business. So it doesn't matter if Andy's got, one of those pin dolls and he's putting all the pins in him of Ange or not. The decision will come from Marinakis. I can't see if he carries on with this past the next international break. So I'm talking the November one. If he hasn't, I know, I love you too, Andy. Love you too. Right? If he doesn't turn it round, he could be gone by November. But I expect him to turn it round. I look at the games coming up, and I think it should be a win tonight. Excuse me, should be a win tonight. I think we can beat Chelsea. I think we can beat Man United. We definitely lose to Bournemouth. But that Bournemouth one for me would be a key because he hasn't got the fans on side. Andy's not on his own, by the way, in his disdain for the appointment of Nuno. But every manager that comes in needs that result that turns the fans on side. If you look at Andy, I don't want to speak on Andy's behalf, but there was a huge sector of the fan base that when Cooper left, didn't matter who was coming in after Cooper, they were never going to be good enough because Cooper's the one who got us promoted, right? Yeah. But Nuno was able to turn it around because of that Newcastle result, because of the Man U result straight after. He won the fans over. This is the thing in football. We're all fickle, aren't we? Couple of wins, everything's fine. The air tastes and smells better. Your dinner looks good. Mrs. puts it on the table on time and what have you. Everything suddenly is just beautiful. But the losses, we carry them with us. Carry them to work, carry them to sleep. What if we did this? What if we did that? And the other. So it's results. And I think he's now at the stage where he's been trying to implement this philosophy. I think it will work if he gets the right players in the team. Murillo being out is bigger than a lot of some of the Andys of this world will give it credit for. Douglas Luiz missing, that worries me. I don't think our midfield is strong enough in a two-man midfield. I think it has to be a three-man midfield. And I just look at the squad in general. I think the squad is strong enough that I could probably manage Forest to finish mid-table. That's how deep I think the squad is if it's done right. So I think it's about him getting the right players in. It's about those players buying into what he's saying and his philosophy. And it's about him adapting as well from what he did at Spurs. So just this whole, all the Spurs fans will tell you gun ho, one man at the back, all 11 being sent up and what have you. It's not been like that. There's been a bit more balance to it. So I think he can do it, but he's missed easy opportunities. He should have beaten Swansea. He should have beaten Burnley. Silly own goal against Burnley. He should have beaten Sunderland. Now, out of those three, Sunderland were probably the best out of the three of them. They were the most organised. But that should never have got to the stage where Chris Wood misses basically an open goal. Right? There's been so many of these chances where last season Forest was scoring them. And it is flipped around. Forest would only create 1 to maybe 2, sometimes if we're lucky, 3 decent chances in a game, but would score them. Would end up winning 2-0 or 1-0, and then Nuno locks it down. Yeah. This under Ange, we're creating some ridiculously good chances. And you've had now 2 open goal misses. You had Wood missing against Sunderland. Callum Hudson-Odoi, when Forest were 2-1 up against Real Betis last week, misses from 3 yards out and hits the post. Open goal, keeper wasn't even in the way. Those chances were going in last season. I don't know why they're not going in this season. When they do start to go in, Forest will do well. But will that be too late? So it's all up in the air. I'm not here. And the thing is, I'm not here happy clapping Ange. I don't care if he gets sacked tomorrow, but there's no skin off my nose.
Do you know what, Wolfie? I wanted to ask you, and it may sound like a really odd question, but I wanted to ask you this when you were midway through what you were saying about Ange. You were saying that you thought Ange could turn it round, and what I wanted to ask you was, do you want Ange to turn it round? And the reason, what I'm trying to say is, if Ange goes on a little run now, it only extends the time that he's got. Or are you in that place? Are you depending where you are with Ange and where you see him long term? Are you in that? Because how many times did we hear Deji say, "Oh, we don't want to pick up any points because if we get a win or we get a draw, it just gives him longer and longer." When he was at Tottenham, are you at the point where you just like, do you know what, I'm just going to back him regardless? Or are you thinking, well, if say you lose to us, in the back of your mind, are you thinking, do you know what, if we lose to Chelsea as well and then we lose the next one, there's a good chance that the owners might start going, hang on a minute, what's going on here?
Yeah, for me, I like his style of play. I've been like, for all the years and years that I've seen Forest, most of the times we're counter-attacking in terms of our style. I probably have to go back to like Paul Hart days, around those times where Forest were possession based. Yeah, but it's been even under Cloughy. I mean, I was really young, but I wouldn't know what counter attack was. But when you speak to the likes of Ant and all those, they'd be like, yeah, even under Cloughy, we were counter attacking teams. So this is a whole new philosophy, like across the generations of Forest watching it. But I enjoy watching attacking football. I'd rather win 4-3 than 1-0. I just enjoy watching my team with possession, but not aimless possession. That was my gripe against Sunderland. It was aimless possession. Whereas Batiste, I saw triangles, I saw patterns of play and what have you. So to answer your question, Chris, no, I'm fully behind him, and I'm happy for him to continue because I actually think he's a really nice guy as well. His presses are fantastic. He's very open and honest in the presses. This is coming off the back of Nuno, whose presses were just a case of him saying, we'll find a solution for this, we'll find a solution for that, solution, we'll be compact. Clean sheet is my number one priority and what have you. So I like his general demeanor. I like what he says. Are the players liking it? Are the players buying into it? I don't know. I hear some stories going around at the moment that maybe not all is well behind the scenes, but I think that happens without the wins. And I also would say that it's a weird scenario where he's had 5 games in 2 weeks, and 4 of those games have been away. And one of those games was 2 days after he was appointed, and the players were off on international duty, and that was against Arsenal. That's the only one, by the way, where we didn't have a sniff in that game. They scored us in that game, but he didn't try and change anything there. That's why I'm giving it a little more patience. And if this was last season, Forest would have only played 2 games because there wouldn't have been the midweek games and what have you, obviously excluding the cup. That's where it's slightly different. So, but I said from Sunderland, he's got no excuses for me to have started to implement it. He's at home. He should have won that game. Didn't like what I saw. If he loses tonight or doesn't win tonight, I think the mood of the fan base will turn. And then I think going into Sunday, if he loses to Newcastle, there will be a big chunk there around Joe, a huge chunk, especially if he loses at a whimper or over attacks, doesn't respect kind of your midfield, etc. So there will be that. But in my mind, he's got till the November international break. Because those games are hard as well. So some would say I'm being harsh on him. You mentioned it, Chris. That run-in is quite hard. Yeah.
It's a difficult run of fixtures. But as you said, you've got a mountain to climb already because of the points that you've dropped already against teams that you'd expect to. I know people are kind of not laughing at it, but called it out. With Burnley and Sunderland, you'd have expected. With the season you had last season to pick up 6 points, would have just expected that. So the fact that you've walked away with 1 is a massive concern. But you talked about Ange. I think it's fair what you've said, giving him till that November to show that he's at least making progress, because he doesn't have to have won all those games. I'm assuming, Wolfie, but you want to be able to see that progress. You want to be able to see that it's going in a positive direction, that you can take it forward.
Yeah, and usually I'm apparently the most negative Forest fan in the world, according to some. So, if I'm giving him time, surely others can give him time. But as I say, I respect everyone's opinion. Me and Andy will always joke about him being on the counter opposite. Even when on our channel, we got half and half. Some are backing him, some are not from our panelists. So it's very split. it's very split. It's been a while since we've had a manager that's kind of split the boat like this.
Mm.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Well, from Newcastle United's point of view, as we discussed yesterday on the review, 4-0 win away at USG last night in the Champions League, our first away win in Europe for a long time. And it was a big statement for Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe wanted a reaction from his players after the Arsenal game. We got it. We got the win. We got goals. And in particular, these players here were well, some of them on there were standouts. In particular, a player that used to play in the Red of Forest, Anthony Elanga, having a very, very good game. I just want to get your opinions on Newcastle. Obviously, we made that the investment of those players. We haven't seen Wisa yet. Ramsey will be back after international break, as will hopefully Wisa. Malik Chow started very, very well and was fantastic again yesterday. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on Elanga and a certain Nick Voltermader, but on all things Newcastle United. But look, how have you made Newcastle United start the season, albeit with all the summer ramblings going on? I know we banter each other this, that, and the other on other panels, but like, genuinely, how do you see Newcastle United start?
I think it's been a lot slower than I expected. I think the Leeds game was dire. The 0-0 there. Those are the kind of games I thought Newcastle would pick up. I thought you were excellent against Liverpool. Obviously, there was agendas beneath that, and I thought you probably the Villa game, wasn't it? It was the first one. That was the other draw. When Villa were really poor, and I think that's a knock-on effect of your summer window and how late things ended up kind of coming through the door for you guys. So I don't think there's anything to be concerned about. I think you'll be fine and you'll start kind of moving up that table. But it's just, I think you guys need to learn from this. This isn't the first transfer window where Newcastle haven't sorted their business out quickly. Now, I don't know where things are with Ross Wilson. I haven't heard about that for a while. I don't know if he's signed up to you guys. It's gone quite quiet, to be honest, from our end. I don't know if you've seen anything your end.
That was going to be one of the questions I was going to ask you, Wolfie, because we've heard nothing. Yeah, there you go. So with the question.
Yeah, it's very quiet. I've heard no whisperings about it. But if you do get him, he comes with my endorsement. I think he'd be excellent for Newcastle. He did a great job at Forest. Don't listen to what the Rangers fans say. I disagree wholeheartedly with them. They were there complaining about it. Yeah, it's Ross. So if he doesn't play at left back either, you're good. So he would be excellent for you. But you need someone in. Like the fact that it hasn't been appointed when, I think, boys, we were talking about it quite early in the summer.
Yeah.
About this whole movement. And the fact that we've got Edu in now, it's not like it's the hardest move to get over the line. What you might find is there's going to be gardening leaves and stuff. We had that with Edu for 6 months. So it may be getting towards that stage, but I haven't even heard any kind of concrete things on he's signed or he's left Forest and what have you. But back to your team, I actually think your window was good. I don't think there was too many that you bought that made me think that's not going to work. Obviously, I've bantered you on the German Messi, but that's a lot of what Deji was saying. I still, my worry with him is that you turn into a crossing team. His finish yesterday was quite good. I thought, I was okay. The big man's got a little bit of a touch there, you know. I was like, did he mean it? But
don't do that, Wolfie. Don't do that.
But yeah, it was where I still stand by what I said to you guys a few weeks ago. I think your squad is better, but I don't think your starting 11 is better. My opinion may change on that throughout the season, but the draws you had against Leeds, for example, this season, I think a Newcastle in full flight last season would have beat them. Maybe same with Aston Villa as well. So yeah, there's not too much I'd be concerned about. I still personally stick by what I said on Elanga. I think I told you guys last year before you played us that I highly rate Murphy. I thought he'd done excellent for you. And I think Murphy in the Premier League is a better asset for you, and then save Elanga for the Champions Leagues, where his pace will kind of be utilised and find the space like he did last night. So the squad is there. I think you can play on more than one front. So you could go on a cup run. I think you will qualify in the Champions League, especially now you've picked up the points. And I think your run and the fixtures in there are definitely good. So I think there's good things to be positive about, but it's just too early for any team to be judging their team right now. There's positives, but there's also negatives. You still need to sort out a little bit the defense. I would be bringing in Hall at left back, 100%. This whole I do agree with Sophie. I just don't think this Dan Burn experiment is gonna work. Or if he is that desperate to play Dan Burn, go to a back three. I've seen you last season in a back three, and you've looked quite tidy. So if he's that desperate, rather than shoehorning him into the position, he can play in a back three as well. So do that. So that would be my slight concern. Is sometimes at this stage of the season, we're seeing a bit with Liverpool where managers where they're trying to shoehorn all these extra players, and Hal was saying to us earlier, and I agree with him, McAllister and Bert are being shoehorned in. I think you're doing that a bit in your defense. But once he finds the balance, I think you'll be okay, boys.
Yeah, I agree. Chris, your thoughts on that? I think that's quite fair in terms of his assessment on Newcastle at this moment in time.
Yeah,
doing okay, but a little bit more needed.
Yeah, definitely. And do you know what, Wolfie? I've been saying for a number of weeks, and Pete's probably fed up of hearing me say it, but I look at our fixtures and people say, oh, after 6 games, we had 11 points last season, but obviously we played 6 different games last season. And I look at the games that we've played. So basically, to put it in a nutshell for you, we've beaten Wolves at home, which we're expected to. We've lost Liverpool and Arsenal. So you go, well,
expected.
That can quite easily happen. And the other 3 games were draws, and they were all away from home. So I think, yes, there was Leeds, there was Villa, and there was Bournemouth. But Villa and Bournemouth particularly are difficult to away from home. I know Villa are in a bit of a bad spot, but in a few weeks' time, that will be a difficult fixture. And Leeds away, Ellen Road's a tough place to go. So I've almost been a little bit frustrated with how everyone's kind of getting uppity about it. And then, like I say, I look at I've already in my head, I've already discounted the likes of Liverpool, City, and Arsenal. I just don't think we'll be able to catch those 3. But then I start looking at Villa, I look at Chelsea, I look at Tottenham, and I think, well, they've dropped some pretty major points this season, but no one really seems to be talking about that. They're just looking at the league table and going, oh, look where Newcastle are. And you think, well,
exactly.
Well, yeah, but, Newcastle have got a brand new striker. Newcastle have brought in 5 other new players as well. Some of them we haven't even been able to put on the pitch yet. So I just feel a bit like you, Wolfie, in that I think, if we get to 10, 15 games and things are kind of where they are now, then yeah, I'd be a little bit worried. But, 2 or 3 wins on the bounce, and all of a sudden you go, and actually, if you look at the fixtures as a whole, you go, we picked up some pretty decent points there.
Yeah, I agree. Like, you're on par, I think would be a fair assessment, Chris. You're not below par or above par. Do you know what I mean? Like you said, I think that's a good assessment. You've won the ones you expected to win. Some of these away ones maybe you should have won, but to draw them isn't the end of the world. So yeah, I'd agree with that assessment.
Yeah, it's a work in progress. I know you said it's been a slow start. I think it's expected to be a slow start because of the situation with Alexander Isak. It completely decimated our summer in preparations. It affected the players. It affected everything in terms of what we were trying to build. We wanted to hit the ground running this season. We wanted to have a fast start, and it wasn't allowed because arguably our best player at that point was doing what he was doing, and it completely threw out the team. But as has been said, the investment in the team has gone unnoticed, in my opinion. We've covered all the main areas that we wanted to on the pitch. We mentioned the likes of Ramsey, who should be back after the internationals. After the internationals, you've got Wisa, that for me, I think makes a massive difference when he comes into the team. We're in a great position to really kick on if we continue to build and get results. And I think Sunday is absolutely crucial for Newcastle United. Before the international break at St. James's Park, to go and get another 3 points. And just to put a few things out there, we haven't conceded a goal away from home in the Premier League so far this season. The only teams that we've conceded against in the Premier League are Liverpool and Arsenal. So when we kind of put that into perspective, we have started well and we have been difficult to beat.
Oh, and Pete, and the other team we lost against as well, by the way, Barcelona.
Barcelona. So when you look
You
at
played
that,
well in that game. I thought you played well.
and this is the thing, we didn't play well against Arsenal, but at 84 minutes we were still winning. Like, I know we obviously let it slip, but
Should have
you
held
look
out.
at that large parts of games. Liverpool, even with 10 men, we were the better team, and even Liverpool and fans have acknowledged that. Arsenal, we didn't necessarily turn up, but like you said, Barcelona, we had chances. If we'd have took those chances, we could have been 2 or 3 nil up at half time, and it's a completely different conversation that we're having about that game and the overall look of the season. So it is something that we have to sort of look at with a level of positivity, because we've lost our main player. We've been able to sign some fantastic players and start the process of rebuilding this team in a different manner. But I am mindful that time is short with yourself, because if people aren't aware, everyone else in the chat, people in the chat, get your likes up now for us whilst you've got the opportunity. Forest have got a game tonight in the Europa League. So just before Wolfie, leaves us, I would like us ideally. I don't know if you boys can see that on the screen. We've got
on there.
Forest in there. I know you're playing tonight, and I know the team news will be coming out soon, Wolfie. But what do you see your lineup potentially looking like on Sunday?
I think your boy Sells will be in goal for sure.
Don't rate him. Told you.
Bro, he's quality, bro. I think you will see. I'll go Nico Williams. I'll tell you what I think I know. Nico Williams left back.
Okay.
Murillo left centre back. Milenkovic right centre back.
Yeah, on it. I was kind of hoping Morata would play, but
no. He's been okay when he's gone centre back, but when he went left back, he got cooked. It depends who he goes with tonight. I would assume he'll go Savona at right back. He still needs to convince me that he's decent. So
we were strongly linked with him, Wolfie. A report came out in the summer window. I think it was from Keith Downey, wasn't it, Pete? And he named 3 defenders that we were looking at. This is before we signed Chow, and one of them was Savona. He's
a bit like a Dan Burn. He's like 6'6". Yeah, he doesn't look like he should be a right back. He looks more like he has played centre back as well. But yeah, and then I think he'll go mid.
At the back, sorry. Go on.
That's right. I think he'll go midfield 3. Zinchenko will be out, so it will be your boy, Jordi Maradona.
Yeah, still running the show for you boys.
Yeah, it's absolute quality. I think it will be Sangare and Dominguez. I think it'll go Workman midfield.
So it'll look a little bit like that.
Yeah, something like that. And then I think he will go Chris Wood up front. I'm assuming Igor Jesus will play tonight. So I think he'll go Chris Wood up front, obviously with this track record, the hat trick, etc. And then I think Hutchinson will play on the right side.
Okay.
Because he played well against Sunderland. And then on the left, it will be, take your pick, Hudson-Odoi, Dan-Odoi or Hudson-Odoi. It'll be probably whoever doesn't play tonight. He's doing this rotation thing at the moment. So, sorry, Gibbs White. I forgot about Gibbs White. Yeah, Gibbs. You know what? Put Gibbs White in for Dominguez. Gibbs White for Dominguez.
So many options, Wolfie.
We have got quite a few. This is why I'm not too worried. They've just got to find the right balance.
It'll be like this. Then.
Yeah, it'll be a bit like that. Yeah. So
how's the one getting on, Wolfie?
Sorry.
How's the one you getting on? Is he fit now?
Yeah, but he's 4th choice. So.
He's not in the Europa League squad, is he?
No. He's not in any squad at the moment. So at the moment, it's between Chris Wood and Igor Jesus who starts, and then Callum Owendo is the 3rd choice, if you like, and then Taiwo. Yeah, Callum Owendo, he hasn't started too well, and backwards another one I've not been overly pleased with because I rate him highly. So, but yeah. I think it'll be something like that. That's not going to be a million miles off it, boys. It just depends. I'll WhatsApp you guys once tonight's over and give you a kind of more updated team news thought with it, because it's hard to. I think he will rotate from what happens tonight, and depends on how people play tonight, as well. But yeah, boys, that's roughly what I think it will be.
Yeah. Okay, well, look, I know time is short, and I know you've got to shoot in a second.
I'm sorry, guys.
No, don't worry.
You know what it is? Us European teams. We got so many games. We can't have. I miss having a nice long chat with you boys, and like we were trying to cross diaries and everything. It's a mess. Yeah.
To see Pugwall and what was the other one?
Gladiators. Yeah, Funhouse.
California Dreams. Oh my
god!
God.
What a show!
Yeah. If anyone listened to our chat off air on Tuesday,
we could have done a whole stream on old school shows, man. Proper shows. Yeah. But yeah, boys, I'm gonna jump off, and apologies, chat. I gotta cut it short, but I gotta go and start sweating out for Mitchell. For Mitchell, he is a baller.
Everyone in the chat, make sure you go tonight and watch Wolfie's live watch along for the game, Europa League game. Keep an eye on it. We'll be watching closely to see their lineup and everything else. But Wolfie, pleasure as always, mate. I'm sure we'll have you.
Yeah, I'll be live from 7:30, so they want to drop in there, more than welcome to. Boys, I'll leave you to it. Thank you so much as always for the invite. These lot in the chat, where's your shame? 200 in here. Where are the likes? Hit those likes, please. And yeah, I'll catch up with you boys later on.
Take care, man.
Take care, Wolfie.
Good luck.
Bye.
Great to have Wolfie on. But we're carrying on. We're not going anywhere. We've got a team to pick for Sunday and a couple of other topics to talk about before we wrap this evening. Let's do it. Let's get into it. So looking at that team, Chris, thoughts on that potential team for Sunday? Any particular concerns? Any particular areas that you think we can exploit?
I mean, I was surprised. I'll be honest. I was surprised at how many options Forest have. I mean, I look at their bench and I think, David Luiz, who Douglas. I keep saying David Luiz, Douglas Luiz, Ryan Yates, who comes in and does the job, doesn't he? James McAtee, Bakwe, Calamuendo. They've got so many options, haven't they? So many options, and he's just took Dominguez out as well. So I think I like the Forest centre back pairing. I think that'll be difficult for Nick Voltemade because I think it'll be a physical battle. So it'll be interesting to see how Nick Voltemade goes up against those two. Although there isn't a lot of pace between the two of them. I'd say Murillo is probably quicker than Milenkovic, but there's not a lot of pace. So it would be great to try and draw them out. And then hopefully, as we've discussed, Pete, your wingers come in and, cause Savona and Nico Williams some problems. So I think Nick Voltemade's performance on the weekends will be key. Obviously, the midfield three, we always talk about it, don't we? But we know how good Elliot Anderson is. We know that if Gibbs White is on it, he's a fantastic player. Sangare's solid. Previously in the Dutch league, wasn't he? I think it was PSV he was at previously. And I think we looked at him some while ago. But yeah, good player. And yeah, Chris Wood, of course. Chris Wood, or what were we calling him? Woodaldo. I think he was getting called at one point, wasn't he?
Woodinho.
Oh, Woodinho, yeah. He was. He had that fantastic game against us, didn't he? So I think Forest have lots of options. The thing that makes me nervous about this game, Pete, is you look at it on paper and you think Ange's team, Forest look all over the place. We should be able to take advantage, obviously off the back of that 4-0 win away in Brussels. So you think, we should be all right here. We should be all right, but. I do expect Forest to turn the corner at some point. I just hope that it's not on Sunday. That's my biggest concern, if I'm honest.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. When Wolfie was talking about that earlier, talking about the different changes to the team and the run of fixtures that a new manager had, similar to when Nuno first came in and we got beat off them. I think it was it Boxing Day they beat us? I think it was around that Christmas time where Chris got that hat trick. Was thinking, oh, please not again. But equally, we're in a different moment because that was a very difficult season when we had a lot of injuries when they came up to St James's Park and won. But we're in a different moment. We've got a big squad, a much bigger squad now. We've got less injuries to worry about. We're coming off the back of a 4-0 win in Europe in the Champions League, and I think with 3-4 days rest going into that game, I think. the squad will be freshened up and ready to go again. And I think, you know, when you're winning matches and you're scoring goals, it just breeds confidence in the team. Not to mention the fact that we're at St James's Park. And the points that I mentioned earlier, I think are really important. You know, you look at the teams that we have conceded goals against, Barca, Liverpool and Arsenal. It's kind of like, well, okay, you expect that. But the fact that we've had clean sheets in every other game just shows how solid we've been and how much confidence that I think that I have in our team at the moment, that we can go there and keep Forest out. And it'll just be a case of, can we get the goals? Look, we can talk a little bit more in a second, but like, what for Newcastle's team then? Are there any changes for you? If so, where? How do you think the team's going to look formation-wise? Is it going to change? There's a few questions to be answered there, Chris. But what would you suggest for this team to go up against this Forest team that you can see on the screen?
Yeah, so we always have this. Well, I personally always have this like heart and head thing where I think will I put out the team that I think will start, or do I put out the team that I think Eddie Howe will start? And to be honest, I can't see past this Eddie Howe team that I think he's going to put out. I've just got a feeling on it. I really have. But obviously, Pete, you can critique me.
Just before you do your team,
go on.
The team for the Forest game tonight is in. So Williams, Milenkovic. So Morato's playing left back in this game. So that's interesting. So I'll tell you what I'll do. If you hold on, what I might do is I'll just add in what this team tonight looks like. So Williams there, Savona's on the bench. So this is the team that's playing tonight. Yeah. So it's because I can't see that screen. So
it's Ndoye for So he's playing Callum Hudson-Odoi on the left. He's playing Igor Jesus through the middle.
Yeah.
He's probably playing. I'd say he's playing Gibbs White. Oh no, it'll be Ndoye on the right, won't it? It'll be Ndoye. So swap Hutchinson for Ndoye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the team.
Okay, so that's kind of how it looks tonight then for Forest. That's how it looks. So we set that up there. So that for me obviously is a you know, you could argue stronger, weaker. I mean, I'm looking at Morata. I'm thinking I hope he plays there Sunday against Alanga. I would absolutely love that. To be fair, I actually think even if Savona played, I think their fullback areas are areas that we need to exploit. And with Gordon and Alanga, with that electric pace, potentially, depending on the team that we obviously put out tonight, that I think could really attack them. But let's keep this team up, because that's the team. That's the one that we know from Forest. But throw your team up.
Sorry, Pete, just to add in, Sophie B, she raises a good point, but the reason I didn't think this, Sophie, was because I don't see who's playing left back, but I could be wrong, or who's playing right back, because Sophie reckons it's three at the back. She reckons it's Milenkovic, Murillo and Morato, but I can't see who the wing back would be. Oh, Ndoye, right wing back. Oh, I thought Ndoye. I didn't realise Ndoye was a right wing back. Maybe he is.
So is it more like this then?
More like that, and then Ndoye will go right wing back, and Nico Williams left wing back, and then I assume Igor Jesus probably slightly more to the right, and Hudson-Odoi coming in a little bit, a little bit like that.
All right, okay, that's interesting. If they something else to consider. So if we leave that, then how we set it up then, mate? What you
do? So Nick Pope's going to be in goal.
Yeah,
another clean sheet on purpose, Pete. You're gonna laugh when I do this, right? So right back will be Kieran Trippier.
Okay, trips in right back.
I fully expect Malik Chow and Sven Botman to play.
Yeah, definitely.
In the holding position will be Sandro Tonali.
I just caught on to what you're doing now. Right, go ahead.
Left centre mid, I expect it to be Joe Linton.
Yep. Craig Lee put in the chat earlier, is Joe Linton injured? I didn't see any injury from Joe Linton, and it wasn't talked about after the game either. He had that yellow card after literally his first foul in the game against USG yesterday. So I actually kind of said at half time, said to the Mags down south lads, I said, to be fair, with his booking, I think Miley needs to come on. And I think the game needed it. It needed a midfielder that could hold on to the ball and just hold possession because we were winning 2-0 at the time. I think it was what we needed. So I think it was more precaution. We didn't want to be 2-0 up and then all of a sudden be down to 10 men and it's backs against the wall. So that's how I saw it, Craig. In that perspective, I think I'm with you, Chris. I think he'll play Sunday.
Claire G, don't do it, Chris. Right centre mid will be Bruno.
Okay, Bruno Guimaraes. Yes. Just add in there, Bruno and Joe Linton into the Brazilian squad. I think we maybe touched on it yesterday. Great news all round.
Good news. Yeah, definitely. GDS just got the drums out. Left wing will be Anthony Gordon.
Okay. Yeah. Look, regardless of whether they play 3 or 4 at the back, whoever their fullback is, he should be brimming with confidence now. You know what I need from Gordon? Yeah, we saw it on Wednesday. We saw it yesterday. Elanga winning a penalty. I need Gordon winning penalties. I need him attacking his fullback or his defender and committing them in the box. It's a great source now for him to score goals. So where he can, he needs to do it.
Absolutely. Right wing, I firmly believe it will be Anthony Elanga.
Okay, I agree with you.
I do think it's going to be Anthony Elanga. And obviously Nick Voltemade through the middle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, you can see I'm missing a player.
Yeah.
People are saying Alex Murphy. Listen, for me, it would be Lewis Hall, but it's going to be Dan Burn. I'm really sorry. It's going to be Dan Burn.
Yeah.
It will be Dan Burn. I can't see it not being Dan Burn. I think. And then obviously, what was the game before USG, Pete? Was it yes, Arsenal. So we first saw it at Arsenal. We were a bit like, oh, this is strange. I wonder whether this is just a bit of an experiment. And then obviously we saw it again against USG, and I was thinking, I think I'm going to have to mentally prepare myself for this now. Especially certainly for the next 5 or 6 weeks while Tino Livramento's out. I just cannot see him playing. I cannot see him starting Lewis Hall. I just can't see it. I want him to. I think he should, but I just cannot see it. I think he starts Dan Burn.
Yeah, I mean, look, Sophie's put in the chat. I've just clicked off the screen for a sec, but Sophie's put Dan Burn played 90 minutes.
But Dan Burn always plays 90 minutes.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. Dan Burn plays every 90 minutes. I don't think it matters. For me, is it right tactically? I'm not quite sure. I think Hall is a better option. I think if you want Hall to be 100% fit, you've got to give him an opportunity to play.
You can't give him 15, 20 minutes here. You just can't.
He's never going to get back up to speed if he's not starting matches. No. So I get the points that are being made in the chat. And look, me and Chris are both in agreement. Like, we would prefer an actual left back to play left back. That's what we all want. But the reality is that Eddie Howe, he sees Dan Burn as an integral part of his team, and he wants experienced players to always be in and around the team. Now, there's no question that Sven Botman he's almost forced his way back into this team because he's an elite player, but he's also in fantastic form, so you can't even argue it. But with Lewis Hall not being 100% right, it almost gives him the reason to go, we're not 100% right, we've got Dan Burn here, let's get him in the team. I think Lewis Hall will come off the bench at some point and maybe replace Dan Burn, depending on the result. But at this moment in time, I think Dan Burn will play, and I think he will continue to play as long as he's fit, up until, like you said, Tino Livramento is fit. And it's only really when games are done, or if we're winning comfortably in the game, that he'll bring Dan Burn off. Only then will he ever. I think he's only ever really subbed him off a handful of times in matches when he's played.
Yeah. It's rare. It's rare. You're right, Pete. It's rare he comes off. If anything, someone else comes off and he goes into a back three or back five. That invariably is what happens if we're playing with a back four. I don't recall very often at all Dan Burn being subbed at all.
It's very, very rare, and I think when he was, it might have been when he was playing left back due to performances. But since he's been playing centre back, I don't think he has. Maybe once. It's not very often anyway. But look, I think it might have been Claire put in the chat. Imagine if we lose Hall because of Burn. I don't think that will ever be the case. I don't think Hall will leave off the back of it. But I think just in this moment, whilst Tino's out, I think it will be a case where he'll want that experience. He'll want that guy in the team as much as he possibly can, because he is a leader. He's a leader. He wears the armband. I think when Trippier went off, he gave the armband to Dan Burn. Like he is a leader on the pitch, and that's just natural in a situation that Eddie Howe will back him 110%. I think he's got full trust in Dan Burn. He plays every minute, every game pretty much. He's got full trust in his ability. We've got question marks about him playing left back. I'm sure Dan Burn's got question marks of himself playing left back, but he's going to want to be on wearing the black and white shirt, regardless of what position he's playing in. And look, the defense has been really solid recently, so hopefully we've got. I look at that team, Chris, and I think we've still got enough to keep Forest out with that back four, with the quality of that centre back pairing. Kieran Trippier with the experience, Dan Burn with the experience down those sides. It might not be full of attacking intent, but I think there's enough solid defensive quality to be able to keep them out, in my opinion.
Surely team for life. I can hear Daz shouting, "Play Murphy at left back."
Yeah, absolutely.
Daz will be screaming at the screen. Now, do you know what, Pete? I was just thinking about what you were saying then. I don't know if this is any consolation or whatnot, but I do think that, and this would never come out, but I do think that there is an element as well that since Dan Burn's come in for Eddie Howe, he's been absolutely fantastic. He's been wonderful, and he's been everything that we've needed. But I do think that there is an element of he needs to be in that World Cup squad. He needs, and he's got his opportunity. He's in there, and I almost think it's a little bit of Eddie Howe going, do you know what, we need to give back to you a little bit. Now, I'm not saying it is in like a pity selection. I'm not saying that, because he's still a really good player, and he's still, he brings a lot to this team. But I think his hand, you're right when what you said earlier, his hand's been forced with Sven Botman. There's no argument now. Sven Botman has to play left centre back. Now, if he's only playing with two at the back, two centre backs, it's almost like I'm going to use the word again, it's almost like he's shoehorning Dan Burn in. But I do think at the end of this season, I think it'll stop. As in, we get to the summer, there'll be the World Cup, and then it's almost he's come back, and it's like, right, Sven Botman's the main guy now. You're not going to see as much football as what you have. Whereas if he does it right now, let's be honest, and a few people in the chat have said it, if Dan Burn gets dropped to the bench and he's only playing fleeting minutes, I question whether he gets any football at the World Cup. Yeah. The reason that Thomas Tuchel has picked him, the reason Thomas Tuchel likes Dan Burn and has selected him, is because he sees him week in, week out. And if Dan Burn's not playing football, I do wonder whether he goes, this lad's played all season, I don't know whether he's talking about Lewis Dunk or whether he's talking about Mark Gay, whether he's talking, he will automatically go with a player that's the fittest and who's had the most minutes through the season. And I think Eddie Howe knows that. I think he knows that. So it's a hell of a decision, isn't it? And it's a difficult decision. It's really, really hard. And would I want Dan Burn to miss out on a place in the World Cup? Absolutely not. Newcastle United is the priority. Obviously, I want Newcastle United to win, and I want us to put out our best 11. But I know that they say there's no loyalty in football, but he deserves it at the same time. He deserves it for what he's done and where he's got to.
It's like the pinnacle of a career defining moment. So he's reached the pinnacle at a club level by lifting a trophy for Newcastle. Newcastle United, his hometown club. That's the key to that. But it'll be the pinnacle for him and the kind of the highlight of his career to be
It's
able
for
to
Dan Burn.
Yeah, to lead England out into a World Cup. And he doesn't have to play every minute, but he just needs to play enough to still warrant a place in that England team. I do agree with what Claire G said. And she said, Lewis Hall is needed for England too. And he absolutely is. At left back, we haven't got solid options at left back. And he is absolutely one of them. We've got Miles Lewis-Skelly, who was being literally lauded on Sky and every talk and conversation about him when he made his breakthrough last season for Arsenal. He couldn't lace Lewis Hall's boots at that point. Lewis Hall had a much better season than him. It's only because he was playing for Arsenal he's getting lauded with all this praise. Obviously, Lewis Hall got injured and missed the rest of the season. But Miles Lewis-Skelly, whilst the Hall's been out, has done nothing. And actually, he's exposed himself because he's had red cards, he's had poor performances, he hasn't been starting games, he's coming off the bench, sometimes playing in midfield, which is initially his position. So that's not even a dead cert. So actually, I think that's a great point, Claire. And I actually think that, Lewis Hall is also needing. So it is going to be a juggling session with Eddie Howe because Lewis Hall isn't going to sit there forever and go, hold on a second, I'm not just going to play second fiddle because you want Byrne to go to the World Cup or because Byrne wants to go to the World Cup. I want to go to the World Cup too. And I want to put performances in that are good enough to showcase my abilities. So there's that argument that I absolutely agree with as well. So I think it does kind of work both ways. And Eddie Howe's got some big decisions to make because he can't keep shoehorning players into the team.
No.
And I'll be honest with you, with Trippier playing as well as the way he is, and with Tino out, this is a perfect opportunity to be playing Lewis Hall because you've got one less fullback that's there as an option because Tino starts right or left regardless when he's fit. This is the time to play Hall to get his fitness up. So I don't know,
it's hard, isn't it? It's hard. I mean, I suppose the only difference between the two when you're talking about Hall and Byrne is obviously Byrne's 32, is he? 32, 33?
34.
Oh, was he 34? Oh, Lewis Hall's 19, 20? Yeah. So, he's still got his whole career ahead of him. Now, I'm sure Lewis Hall won't see it like that. Lewis Hall won't be like, oh, okay, give Dan Byrne the place on the plane. It's fine. But I think I do honestly think that plays a part in Eddie Howe's thinking. I really do. And it's almost like, as I say, it's not a pity selection. It's not, I really want Dan Byrne to go. He's not great, but because Dan Byrne always gives 110%, and Dan Byrne has been absolutely wonderful since he signed for Newcastle United, and he's never let us down. It's just that in this position, it's just it's not ideal, and I think it upsets the balance of the team, and that's where my head starts ruling my heart because I start going, but it's about Newcastle United, it's about getting the performances, and from a manager point of view, Pete, as everybody knows, it's these decisions that you can live or die by, isn't it? It's these decisions because if fans then start, if we start struggling, Dan Byrne starts getting levered every single game, Eddie Howe, then people start questioning Eddie Howe because of the decisions that he's making, and it starts, the snowball effect. So Eddie Howe's he's got to be very careful, very careful.
Yeah, but this is what we wanted though. We wanted a squad game. We wanted a game where we've got a big squad of players to choose from, where rotation can happen, players come in, players come out. So this is what we called for. This is what Eddie Howe wanted 2 years ago. He didn't get it. He's now got it. He's now got to make the right decisions. At this moment in time, he has been rotating and it has worked, but he's got to get the balance right. Every player has got to get a good amount of minutes. And for me, I'm looking at these fullback situations right now and I'm thinking, with Tino playing as well as he was left back and now injured, this is the perfect time for Hall to come in. So I think it would be really harsh on Hall that when his time's right to come into the team and start actually playing again regularly, Dan Byrne takes all that spot. And so it does need to find a balance now. I'm actually in two minds now. I've got to be honest. I'm in two minds about what could happen on Sunday. I wouldn't be surprised to see Hull start for that reason. But yeah, like I said, I'm probably 50-50 now. I've almost talked myself out of being convinced that Burn's going to start, but we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see.
We will. I want, and we've said this before. Anyone just joining the show, everyone wants Lewis Hall to start left back because Lewis Hall should start left back. I just can't see Eddie Howe dropping down there. I just cannot see it.
No, it's again big decisions for Eddie Howe. But look, for the way we are right now, we've got a team that is absolutely capable of winning this game. If we play, and I'll just bring it back up really quickly, if we play the way we want to, and we get that ball into Nick Woltemade, and we're playing that hold-up play, because what I loved about this is that Nick Woltemade holding up the ball. You had Gordon making runs in here. You had Alanga making runs out wide, and it was almost kind of Bruno in this little pocket here. And he just gets so many men around him. So he picks that ball up. He's got a ball back into Sandro, into there. He's got a ball out wide, and let me just get the tools up now. It's just easier grabbing the ball. So the ball into Sandro, the ball out to Joelinton, a little flick round the sides to Gordon or into Bruno, and it's either then Bruno into Alanga, who's been putting a lot of really good crosses in. Was really impressed with the crosses that he's putting in, nice and low and hard, winning a lot of corners off the back of it. I don't think I've seen this many crosses of quality come into the box for a long time. I know Murphy did it a few times for Isak last season, but I like what I'm seeing from that. So get everything around this guy. If he can pin Murillo, and you've got Gordon with the pace, you've got Bruno in these little intricate areas, Sandro on the edge of the box to take shots, Alanga making these diagonal sort of runs into the space. I think if we can isolate Murillo, who's their best centre-back, and we can trust Woltemade to look after him, I put all my trust in the likes of Gordon, Joelinton, taking advantage of Milenkovic, the likes of Morata, or whoever's playing alongside Murillo. I just think we've got too much for him at St James's Park. Maybe I'm feeling too confident about the game. I don't know, but I just feel the way we are right now, we've got enough. We've got too much to kind of for them to handle. But I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
No, I agree, mate. And I think as well, it comes from that USG game, doesn't it? Because we saw all the good bits, we saw all the things that we've been crying out for the last few weeks. We've seen a bit of progression. We've seen us using Nick Woltemade in the correct way, utilising him, making sure that we play to his strengths. I mean, the only disadvantage, I suppose, is that Nick now has 3 shots and 3 goals, which is great. But it would be lovely to come off the back of a game, wouldn't it, and go, "Oh, he scored 2 goals, but he had 4 chances." You know, he's still only got that 1 chance, and he's done what he's needed to do, which is great. But it would be fantastic, to try and up that tally a little bit. But not that I'm downplaying the USG performance in any way, because I'm not. It was a vastly improved. But I still think there is some headway to be made, and it is something that we still need to work on. But I'm like you, Pete. I'm confident we can go through this Forest game. And all of a sudden, Pete, as I say, you look at the league table, and if we were to get 3 points against Forest, you look at the league table again, and you go, okay, we're looking like we're more on track than what we were. 3 points at the moment is huge.
Absolutely. What's people's first goal scorer for Newcastle United on Sunday? If we're going for a goal scorer, who's our guy? People in the chat, give us your opinion, Chris. If you were to go for a first goal scorer, who would you be going for, in your opinion?
Anthony Gordon.
Okay.
Anthony Gordon.
Ooh. I'm going to go left field. I'm going to go Alanga.
Or right field.
Oh, yeah. Right field.
Alanga, yeah. That would do him the world of good as well, wouldn't it? Scoring against his former club. Yeah, Gavin Black agrees with you, Pete.
just that. I just when you just get a feeling against the old club, there's gaps in the team.
That'd be funny.
For it. Yeah, imagine
Yes! That's why he starts left back. That's why he starts left back.
a diagonal run into the box.
Yeah.
On two men with his left foot, smashed into the far corner, and Dambo running off, arms aloft from left back. That will shut everyone up. No one's got anything to say then if he pulls off one of those bad boys.
I know.
Wake up. Come on, man. Don't do that to us.
That's an interesting one. It's an interesting shout. I don't know if he'll be on the pitch, but who knows?
I don't think he'll be on the pitch, but Nobby Clark, interesting.
Yeah.
Tell us why you think that. Tell us why you think that. Do you think it was going to be a goal off the bench? So 0-0 for a period of time, he comes off the bench and gets a goal. We've definitely got some Forest fans in there because you've got Wadinho with a brace, you've got Igor Jesus with a brace. There's still some Forest fans hanging around in the chat. Great to have you, by the way. Always good to have opposition fans in there. But yeah,
he is Jeff G.
Interesting, very, very interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested to see. He might not put a comment back on, but just his reasonings for Harvey Barnes, I think it's quite interesting actually. But and unless we've got any quick fire questions, we can get to predictions, mate, and see what's going to be.
Do you know what? I'll just see if there's any quick ones for us. In fact, I will bring this one up because I saw Craig Hope say that there was going to be breaking news off the pitch, and I've seen a spade, but it looks like Geordie Soon for Life has let the cat out of the bag. I haven't seen the video yet, but apparently Newcastle's new training ground looks like it's going to be in Cramlington. Champion for me, says Geordie Toon for Life. Have you seen anything of that yet, Pete? Have you watched it or?
Yeah. So Craig Hope did a piece earlier on this afternoon, and if I can find it, I'll be able to read a little bit of it out. So, yeah, surprise new location for the Toon Training HQ headquarters. So it says that yes, it says we understand the club chiefs have visited land in Seaton Burn, close to Holiday Inn roundabout, and the meeting point of the A1 and A19, 8 miles north of the city centre. So he talks about saying that is their favoured location for the state-of-the-art training ground. And we talked about this before. The world-renowned architects, Populous, are the ones that are going to be designing the training ground. So at this point in time, it looks like that is going on in the back, in the background. It wouldn't surprise me, Chris. It wouldn't surprise me if there's a double announcement. It wouldn't, and I've got no idea on this. There's no background information. There's no in the know stuff. This is just a genuine hunch from me. Is that with all the delaying of the stadium talk and all the rest of it, it just wouldn't surprise me if either they announce the stadium and the training ground rebuild together, that they're both going to be done, and they've both got planning permission or whatever it is to get started, and they announce them together, or they announce them very quickly, one after another. It'll probably be the stadium first and then the training ground afterwards. I just get the feeling that that's kind of what they're doing because of how long it's taken, and the fact that they've identified a location says that they're looking at really pressing ahead with this training ground, which is great news. Great news. But what's your thoughts on it? Just from what I've read, I've only read a little snippet on there, but it's obviously a place that they've identified.
For me, I've not read anything on it. I just saw that little tweet that Craig Hope put out. But for me, just long overdue, and I think it's really good news. I know that they've been doing a lot of work on the training ground, but I think it was last night I was watching a little bit of All or Nothing, and it was showing from years ago. It was Tottenham's training grounds, and I was thinking, I'd love to have a training ground like that. And I think it helps so much, in terms of retaining your players and also attracting new players. You know yourself, Pete, where you work. if you've got a state of the art place where you work, you're gonna give a little bit extra. You're gonna enjoy being in work, and that goes for normal people like ourselves who work in schools or offices and stuff like that. So if you're players and you're in there every single day and you train, and sometimes for hours on end, or unsociable hours, you want to feel a little bit of comfort. You want to be able to look around and go, oh, it's lovely in here. I'm really well looked after in here. So for me, I think it's long overdue, and I think it's really positive news.
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to it. These are the big things that need to change, and big things that we're always going to need to be done. I know they've agreed to sort one or two bits out with expanding the current training ground, and they'll invest some money into that. But the new state-of-the-art training ground, it'll be one of the best in the world. It'll be like what Brighton's was when Brighton announced theirs and built theirs. It'll be the same as what Leicester's was when they built theirs. And Leicester's, like, I know I've got friends and people that I know that have got lads that and girls that play at the academy for Leicester City, and they go there for their matches, and they've just said it's just unbelievable. Never been there myself. This is the side of the city from where I am, but they've just said it's top notch. So you're right. It's one of those where that could be the difference in attracting players. I always go back to hearing noises when Modric came to visit the training ground, and then he went to Tottenham's, and it was just like he was kind of blown away.
Night and day.
And you just don't want that. Not when you're aspiring to be an elite club playing at the top level. You want to be able to offer the best facilities you can possibly offer in.
Do you remember when the Tonali announcement video? Tonali went in, they were like, "What do you think of this?" And he was like, "Yeah." There was no wow. It was just, and it was with his girlfriend, wasn't he? And she was a bit like, probably used to the Milan one, and probably think, "Wow, look at the downgrade of Milan to this."
Exactly that. Like the Milan's is like state of the art. Like Milan's is top. Like it just is. So it just the players will get on with the facilities, and all the facilities will be like top quality equipment. But in terms of the state of the art facilities, the building, everything about it, it won't be there. But we will get there. And it'll be the same with the stadium, and those things when they're in position to be built and they're being constructed, that would also be a selling point as well to players when you're trying to attract them to the club, because they'll be able to see the vision of what's actually coming. So the quicker the work starts on those two things, the better for me.
Yeah, 100%. And then the last question, Pete, I think the last one that we've got, and this is an interesting one for me because I hate saying this, I hate it. But I want to see if you're on the same page, because I saw this coming from Claire G earlier, and I was like, I don't know if I do, but I want your thoughts as well. Claire G said earlier on tonight, we need Chelsea to beat Liverpool. But do we need Chelsea to beat Liverpool, Pete? And the reason I asked that is because of what I said earlier. I think you'll know what I mean. But would you be hoping that Chelsea beat Liverpool? I mean, it would be funny, but at the same time, it's almost like I look at the game personally and I think I want Liverpool to beat Chelsea because I don't see us catching Liverpool. I don't think we will finish higher than Liverpool this season. I am firmly of the mindset that 4th and 5th place are between us, Villa, Tottenham, Brighton maybe. Brighton are in fantastic form, and Chelsea. I think they're the teams. It'll be between us lot. So I think Chelsea have already dropped quite significant points this season, and I'm thinking if Liverpool beat them, and we beat Forest, it's another opportunity for us to push that little bit closer. How do you see it?
I'll be honest, I don't want neither team to win.
You'd like a draw?
Yeah, I want a draw. I don't want either team to win. Obviously, from a Liverpool perspective, for obvious reasons, and I want that. I want pressure to be put on them. I want. It's almost like I want Arsenal to win their next game, so then they almost go top, and or I think they're 2 points behind Liverpool, so they could either go top or joint top. So then,
I think Arsenal got a better goal difference, so I think Arsenal will go top.
They could. There you go. So that would be the ideal situation: a draw against Chelsea for Liverpool. Chelsea don't build no momentum. Yes, they'll gain a point, but fans will still get on their back because they're not winning matches. And then on top of that, Liverpool aren't winning. If Arsenal win their game, they go top of the league. All of a sudden now, pressure's on Liverpool. This great start and running away with it and already won the league by September, done. They've now got to turn up and put performances in. And I don't think some of their players will handle that pressure. And that's why I want to see that pressure be added to. 0-0, ball draw, no chances on goal. I don't care. Like, I want it to be the most boringest 0-0 game you could ever see. Nobody benefits from it. They all take a point and go away. Still lots of questions asked about both teams. And then we win our game on Sunday. Arsenal go top of the league. Questions on Liverpool. We're now pushing
That sounds quite nice, actually.
We're pushing then Chelsea, because I think we'll be in with a point or two of Chelsea then. So then we're back in the race for them. It just, for me, that's, if you're asking for Carlsberg weekends, that's kind of where I'm at, fella.
Do you know what I quite like as well, Pete? I would quite like, like a 3-3 or something, just where both defences just look a mess. But I don't want the rat to score. It'd be great if he was on the pitch and he didn't score, and you were getting goals from, like, I don't know, Conor Bradley or Zoboszlai or things like that, and everyone's going, oh, and I don't want a goal or an assist from Vert. I want that to continue nice and long. Just keep that going.
You just want own goals. Own goals
would be fine. But yeah, just like a calamity at the back for both, and a Mohamed Ashley shit show. That would be that. I think I'd enjoy that. But yeah.
Tom said, check out the odds on these. Check out what would the odds be on that? What would the odds be on a 0-0? I'm not sure if he was on about the intricacies on the actual Chelsea Liverpool game.
Ooh.
What would be the odds?
Tom wants that as well.
Oh yeah, that would be the added cherry on top. But 0-0 Chelsea Liverpool, a Newcastle win, an Arsenal win to go top of the league. If you put them all on there, wonder what you get for that.
What are you getting for the? I'll be able to tell you now. What are we getting for the?
What would we put on it? Would we put a fiver, a tenner? What would we put on that to see if that came about?
I'd say a tenner, Pete. Right, here we go. Chelsea Liverpool correct score. Right, so where are we? This is on Sky Bet, by the way.
Okay.
For anyone wondering. Correct score. Here we go. Correct score. 0-0 is 18-1. Big odds, that, mate. 0-0, 18-1, and then if you were to throw, I don't know, Arsenal to win, which is 1-6. So yeah, you're talking 20, just over 21-1. But Arsenal to win and 0-0 Liverpool Chelsea.
And the Newcastle win in there.
Oh, and a Newcastle win. Let's pop that in there as well, of course. Sunday, Newcastle to win.
Dobby Clark. I'm not even going to read that out. But Dobby Clark.
What's Dobby Clark saying here? I don't know whether I'll find that. I mean, I'll look. But I don't know. I don't know if it's on there. No,
you might have to go into the bookies and ask that directly.
Yeah. Can we have that one as well, please? Yeah. If you add Newcastle to that, so Liverpool, Chelsea 0-0, Arsenal to win, Newcastle to win. It's just over 33-1.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I like what Jeff G's saying there. Slap a pav down on a kiss. I assume he means a Pavarotti, which is a tenner.
Okay.
I like that. I like it. Tell me if that's right, Jeff G. I think that's what you mean. But yeah, a pava. Don't often hear that, a pava. But yeah, do you know what? 18-1. That's huge. Huge odds. It must be because they're expecting goals. They must just be expecting. They must be expecting a lot of goals. But yeah, and Tom Dixon raises a good point. Liverpool will struggle because Alisson is out for a while. Jeff G knows.
6 weeks for Alisson. Apparently, Ekitike's got a hamstring injury as well, so he won't be fit until after the internationals. Interesting. Oh,
and this is what I was remembering as well. Mohamed Ashley had a howler against DC Milan in pre-season. He did. I think it was him and Kirkes, wasn't it? And there was a big mix-up. I'm sure it was him and Kirkes. And I remember just thinking, oh, that's nice.
Was it
Leone? Might have been Leone.
No, it was. Oh. All I can remember from the AC Milan game is Rafa Leao just absolutely destroying him on a counter attack like 3 or 4 times, and like just finishing really well. Yeah. But you never know. You never know.
You never know. Braga have just gone 2-0 up against Celtic.
Oh, I'm a minute behind because of course I paused the live.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, but that's sorry, there is one more thing. Sorry, Pete, there is one more thing. Nobby Clark, thank you very much for the super chat, mate. Nobby Clark has got our attention. Thank you very much for that, Nobby. Nobby has said in response to earlier, I said Harvey Barnes as he goes on scoring one once he scores one, which is absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Keep an eye out on that one.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Nobby. Yeah, so we're there. We're there, Chris. I just want to get your prediction before we wrap.
See, my head is saying 2-0. My head is saying 2-0 Newcastle, but I just wonder whether this defense can keep it up. I don't know. Do you know what? No, I'm gonna go with my gut. I'm gonna say 2-1. I think it'll be 2-1 Newcastle.
Okay. I'm gonna go 2-0 because that's awful defending, by the way. I've just seen that goal. He's literally just kicked the ball onto the player and it's gone in. But yeah, I'm gonna go with 2-0 because that's what I thought it would be. So I'm gonna go 2-0 to Newcastle. Newcastle could potentially get another clean sheet, which would be outrageous, by the way.
Yeah, it was.
5 clean sheets in 7 if we did get that on Sunday. So that would be just unbelievable. But I'm going to go 2-0. Chris has gone 2-1. We've both gone for the win. And just really quickly before we go, for everybody that's watching right now, if you haven't already, and I'm just going to find it because I can't find it at this moment in time. Let me go back through. I just want to promote our sponsor for Loaded Mag NUFC Football Prizes. There is not long left. In fact, I can tell you how long is left. There is 1 day.
I was going to say, does it shut tomorrow, Pete? I think it's tomorrow, isn't it? 3rd of October.
I thought it was Saturday, but it's actually tomorrow.
Yeah.
The footy prizes, make sure you are getting yourself involved. And what I will do now in just a second is put it on the screen for you because there are some fantastic prizes in, and hopefully you can see it on the screen. Is it there, Chris?
I'll just take that image off, Pete. 1 sec.
Oh.
Wait there. Where's
it now?
Yeah, there. Got it.
So as you can see on the screen, I apologize, I left the image up. So we've got it. It's live now. Lots of prizes to be won. 147 instant wins. You have, as it says, just under 24 hours. The time is just clicked by. 39 pence per ticket. However, with the loaded 10 code, you will get money off that. So it's just money off 39p as it is. You can see the ticket sold.
It goes down to 35p a ticket, Pete, with the loaded 10 code.
There you go. So we have so many tickets sold already, over 5,000. It will continue to go up, and it will continue to go up again because more people always buy in bulk towards the end. To give yourself an opportunity to win that prize. Make sure you put the loaded 10 in for that offer. Make sure you use the URL code and link, that will be in the description and will be available on Loaded Mag at NUFC if you can't find it. That just shows where you've come from to purchase those tickets. So let them know that you've come from Loaded Mag NUFC. Use that link, put the code in, and buy your ticket. We're going to be buying more. We're going to put ourselves in there with a chance to win. You guys put yourselves within a chance to win. Give yourself the opportunity to win some fantastic prizes from Footy Prizes, our sponsor. So I just wanted to put that out there for you guys. Right, we've given our predictions. We're going for the win. Hopefully you guys are too. Hopefully our goal scorers are there. I might even put that bet on for the weekend to see if it comes to fruition, and we can talk about it next week. But People, we are out of there. Chris, what should we sign off with?
I think it's important, Pete, we get behind Eddie Howe. I think we do the Howe.
Okay, let's go with Eddie Howe. He got us the win, our first Champions League win away from home in Brussels. He is rebuilding this squad. We back the man all the way. Eddie Howe, it makes sense. How do you like that, people? Take care. Speak to you soon.